Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kim Durham, founder of the American Institute of Mind-Body Medicine, with our Mind-Body TV for this week. So welcome for those of you who are here live. And welcome for those of you who are listening to the recording, watching the recording, or listening to the podcast. Today, I'm going to share about going beyond the law of attraction. And the reason I was really enthusiastic about this topic is because so often when we consider the mind and manifesting or having our ideal health, our ideal, vibrant, rich life, it's this idea of I've got to manifest it. I'm a co-creator and I've got to go about this and figure it out. So I was kind of stuck in that for a long time with this duality of positive, negative. And we've all heard like the power of positive thinking. And a lot of my work is really about that, is about how the physiology, the chemistry, the cellular changes that happen are a reflection of your emotional state, your mental state, your thoughts, the things that are going on. But as we go deeper into what is really happening there, it's actually that it's a reflection of your consciousness. And so it's not so much about positive and negative as it is about harmony or discord. And so if you've been a student of law of attraction for a while, you begin to understand it's like, I got to be positive. I shouldn't be negative. And there's all these landmines of negativity and negative beliefs. And how do I get around that? If it's creating, if my inner world is creating my outer, what do I do with all these negative beliefs or these negative thoughts? Or, oh, I just had a negative thought. Oh no, it's going to make me feel sicker, or it's going to make a problem happen or limit my abundance or whatever that is. But you can see how that's a stress state. And, then we have to work really hard to be positive. But what about the part of us that isn't so positive, that's like real? And there's despair and there's grief. And then do we have space for that? Or is it like, no, just be positive, be positive. You got to be positive and then everything's going to work out okay. It can be a huge stress state and a lot of work. And it's very suppressive. And that's not harmony. That isn't the harmony that allows the manifestation of our highest life to occur. And so I appreciate some of these comments. Nicole says, I'm tired of the law of attraction and all the negative crap and trying to be positive 24/7. And I know that, a lot of times there's so much passion in like, okay, I'm going to create my life. I'm a co-creator. I get it. But what I found is that there's something beyond that is effortless. And that's really the foundation of my work that I've found to be the most powerful thing to allow health to be restored. So it isn't so much about, I'm going to manifest health. I'm going to manifest health. I'm going to manifest, for someone who's had infertility or fertility problems, I'm going to manifest having a child. Or someone who you've had problems with money and it's like, I'm going to manifest having ease in my finances and having wealth and abundance. And so we can take our quote unquote negative experience and the clarity of what we don't want and flip it into the realization of what we do want. And that's really powerful, but it is very limited. And so for those of you who haven't seen the video I did a few weeks back on manifestation, it was on the formula that I kind of, how you kind of break it down, how we manifest, where it's really about allowing things to be manifest through you. It's not actually about make it happen, go for it, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to try. That's always going to create disharmony and discord because it's a stress state. But in that video I shared about that connecting with the essence of what it is we want is the fastest way to allow it to come to us, to actually invite it into our lives. It's not quite the same as how we think of manifesting it because there's work involved there. And there's also separation involved there. Like, I don't have it now, I've got to bring it in. But when we are in effortless receiving, it's very, very different. I want to share how this has been a part of my personal life, very much in my health. It was the biggest breakthrough I had in my health when I had an autoimmune illness and like nothing was getting better. Nothing was working. And over a year, it was about 2 years of suffering. Severe fatigue, severe joint pain, back pain, neck pain, migraines, And of course it was the whole adrenal fatigue syndrome and, looking into it from the physical perspective of here's what you should and shouldn't eat. Here are the food intolerances. Here's what you're inflamed to all these different things and you've got to take these medications. And it was a real limitation. And when I finally realized that the way I was going about healing, even though it was like a mind-body approach of I've got to create health, I've got to overcome fatigue, I'm not tired, I feel good, I'm energized. All of that crap was disharmonic for me. It wasn't allowing me to really surrender into what was actually happening and what life was inviting me to. So it wasn't until I allowed that breakthrough of like, okay, stop trying to get better, that my health could be restored. And it was effortless and it was very, very quick, because usually the physical body has a lot of resilience. It is quite amazing, especially as an ER doctor, to see people, 3 gunshot wounds to the torso and the person is still alive and the heart is still pumping and that person's, some will in them is keeping things going, and all kinds of illness, end stage cancer. And you find that the body has the resilience to move through so many things that may look destructive on the physical level. And that's really a testament to the ability to recover and how quickly we can recover when we're in alignment. So that's what I want to share in this video today, is that this old way of looking at it with duality, positive, negative, good, bad, I've got to improve and be better. Those are all the things I was trying to do, which actually made me sick. But that's what I was trying to do to get better. And until I let that go and allowed myself to transcend the positive, negative of duality, I didn't enter the harmony of neutrality. So what is neutrality? This is something that was shared with me from one of my greatest mentors, Sylvia Olivier, that invited me out of the struggle and fight in my life on every level: physical, mental, emotional, financial, relationships, every single aspect of my life, and allowed me to enter harmony and receive more than I ever imagined receiving. And someone's calling in there. I had studied law of attraction for such a long time, and I can understand why people are like working to apply it, let me be positive. Okay, I'm going to focus on what I want. Okay, I don't know what I want. How do I know what I want? Okay, now I'm clear on what I want. This is what I want. I know what I want. So let's say, what you want is success or love, or I want to have a healthy body at my ideal weight. And then we kind of get attached to that. And instead of aligning with the fluidity of living those things, we're aligning with the attachment of having those things. And that's what the be, do, have equation was about. I shared a few weeks back. It was a great video. And that's where we get it backwards. We're like, I've got to have this thing, and then I can be in that harmony I really want to be in. I can be happy. I can be joyful. And it's really the opposite. It requires our alignment with that harmony first. And that's why we've got to move out of duality, positive, negative, be positive, manifest, into allowing, into neutrality. And so when I worked with her, it was such an opening for me, because I had to let go of all the ways I was doing it. The approach that I thought was the thing that was going to work, but that was actually a struggle. And the attachment. I had to let go of the attachment. So it really brought up all of my fear. And it was that fear that kept me in action and learning and like reading another book and like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. This is the thing and this is the answer. And I learned a lot, and it was an expansion in some ways. But what it was really all preparing me for was embracing neutrality. And I could have done that at any time. So the duality of positive, negative, good and bad, right and wrong is where we live, where we're trying to kind of improve. We're trying to transform. You can have, okay, I'm going to transform and now I'm a happier person. But it's always limited. So I'm going to share, if we have a scale, and there's all these different levels of consciousness on the scale. I know sometimes, let me get a better pen. Sometimes people like when I draw things, but I'm not the neatest drawer in the world. So it's like, okay, up high is this positive thing, joy, love, freedom. And these are all the things that sort of like make your heart sing. But when we're in duality, they're conditional. So then there's all this negative stuff down here that I've got to avoid. Don't be negative. Anger, fear, pain, resistance, all the things I don't want to feel. So I've got to go for pleasure and avoid pain. And it is a lot of work, and it will inflame your entire system. Like, it'll actually break down your body's ability to digest food. It will break down your ability to perceive who would be my greatest lover, and like to see clearly who's really a fit for me. It'll break down your ability to make investments in your finances as opposed to expenditures, right? So it's like, oh, I'm gonna go buy this bottle of water for $10, and oh yeah, I need this water because this is healthy water, and look, it's high pH, and that's gonna make me healthy. And I'm spending, trying to get better, not in the clarity of what really contributes to me, what really contributes to my heart and my health. And is this, I didn't spend $10 for a bottle of water, but is this $10 bottle of water a contribution to me? Is it an investment? So I wouldn't have the clarity to discern what is a contribution to me. So it's like, I'm investing my resources and finances versus what is an expenditure that I'm just like throwing it down the toilet. Excuse me. Might as well have a drink of water while we're at it. Okay, so they spend our life trying to kind of get to the positive and avoid the negative. And the law of attraction it's not a farce. I mean, it's very real. It does work when you're in duality. And it is required when you're in duality that you operate this way, that you kind of stay away from the nitty-gritty negative frequencies. It's gonna make your body inflamed. It's gonna impair your clarity. It's gonna impair your health. It's gonna destroy your life. And now, I'm gonna get to this positive thing. Oh, okay, now I feel good. X, Y, and Z happen, or I finally figured this thing out, or oh, I feel really good. But it's temporary. So even if I feel the space of joy, it's like, oh, I hope it doesn't go away. I hope it doesn't go away. How did I get here? I hope I can do it again. Well, boom, you're out of joy. You're not in pure joy or pure love or pure freedom. You're in conditional joy, conditional love, conditional freedom. It requires that you figure it out, that you work hard, that you get there, that you be positive. And it's limited. You're going to bounce back into whatever you've been avoiding down here with the anger, fear, shame, the lack, the limitation, because there's still resistance in this system. There's resistance when you're trying to get here to positive, and you're trying to avoid here, which is negative. And everyone who's studied law of attraction, what you learn is what you resist persists because you're creating it. Oh, with selfie mode, my writing is backwards. So that's going to be a kind of interesting thing to look at. But hey, I guess this is the best we're going to do. What happens that I've realized, and this is really so much of what neutrality really is that as we embrace all of it, we actually move into allowing of good, the bad, the ugly, the nitty gritty, raunchy, whatever, the things we think are good, the things we think are bad, and we embrace all of it with serenity, with willingness, with courage. Now we've sort of transcended this entire map, right? Because there's all these spaces in between of way up here you've got joy and love, way down here you've got fear and anger, and in the middle you've got like boredom or contentment or frustration or things like that. Anything that I'm incomplete with, that I've still got resistance to, like, ooh, I don't want to feel despair. Give me some Prozac right now. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to feel that. I can't handle it. I got to get out of here. Anything I'm incomplete with or still resisting, I'm going to keep bouncing back and bouncing back and bouncing back. And I did that for years. My life would spontaneously kick in these periods of depression or despair. And it'd be like, oh God, what am I going to do now? What's wrong with me? There really is something wrong with me. I've really got a problem. And all of the echoes, because what it will do is it'll pop you into the brain state of like, all of your failures get ignited. Oh my God, what an idiot I am. Oh, and I've done this and I've done that and I failed at this and I failed at that. I really am a total failure. And then when you're in those higher states, yes, you're igniting healthier physiology and healthier brain states, and you remember all your wins. Like, oh, I really am awesome. Life really is good. But you're bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's random. You're still in resistance. How do we move beyond that duality and move into neutrality? And that's really what the instant elevation technique, the instant elevation program that I created is about. Is like all of those tools are to assist us in embracing neutrality. And that's why sometimes like we embrace what is, and then it's like, wait, no, I feel even more angry, or oh my gosh, I feel even more fear and anxiety. Clearly this is a bad thing. I'm supposed to be feeling good. That's duality. That's the mind. The mind has all these conclusions over what the fruition is supposed to look like. But the mind can never actually conceive the harmony of pure love, of pure freedom, of what you could call bliss. So you can get there through the mind. So what do we do? And that's really why embracing all of it. Can I embrace my deepest, darkest despair? Can I embrace the profound anger, rage that can come up and just be seething? And when I say embrace, it doesn't mean you act it out or you take it out on someone or you go and get revenge. It means that you get so completely present to what you are experiencing in this moment, in that moment of unthinkable, bottomless pit of despair, in that moment of grief, with compassion for yourself. So how does this apply to law of attraction and manifesting is that what's required to allow us to receive the, snazzy, awesome BMW car that we love, or the super hot lover, or the exciting vacations, or all the money that we ever need, or the job that we just love, and those opportunities that open up. What is required if it's not fighting or being positive or figuring it out or manifesting it? It's a deeper level of allowing it, of inviting it, of being the invitation. So how do I be the invitation that's a match for my greatest lover? How do I be the invitation that's a match for the passion of the dream career of what I really want? How do I be the invitation for the having all the money that I could ever need in flow? I'm investing it in my life and pouring it out into the world, and more is flowing in always to contribute to me. How do I be the invitation for that? So what happens is, as we look at that scale, and you've got the whole gamut of all of these emotions or states of being, when we embrace them and allow them, it's like we're going to paint with all the colors. We've got red, blue, yellow, orange, purple, and I don't have judgment over any of them. Well, how could you not have judgment about anger? Anger is so bad. Anger is so destructive. Anger is shown to be toxic to your liver and cause heart disease. Yeah, repressed anger, repressed fear, repressed shame. Probably the most toxic force I've seen in the body, which is one of the major things that keeps people sick and they don't heal. And then like 25 things didn't go wrong. And I've got 85 diagnoses and 30 food allergies and 60 supplements, and what's happening? There's repressed energy. And so how can we open to allow that? It's through this embracing, which is really the nidus of the Embracing Health program I created, where I'm working with people live. That's the foundation of it. It's like, how can I embrace all of what's in me so that I can live in pure freedom? I can live and embrace pure love instead of conditional freedom or conditional love. So start right here in this moment and just take a few deep breaths. And I see some questions about food and career and what would you suggest to allow the body to enjoy the foods I give to it. There are a lot of things. How can we have this situation happen? How could we have this situation happen? And it is always 100% of the time through embracing what is. Because that is the truest harmonic state. Doesn't matter if I'm embracing despair, anger, fear. When I embrace what is, I let go. I stop trying. I surrender. I can actually receive more. And there is so much more harmony in that than there is in trying to manifest or being positive, ultimately. So just take a few deep breaths and close your eyes. And let your body relax. The first step of alignment with harmony is just relax your physical body. Actually feel and witness, pay attention to your physical body. Now you can bring in light or kind of see light filling you, and like it's a harmonic, beautiful light of serenity. Let it in, let it come into your body. Take a few deep breaths, let it fill you, let it contribute to you. You're realigning your energy system when you do this. So things will occur to you a little differently. Sometimes I need people to do this first at the start of like if I'm doing a private session, because they can't even hear what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, this is a little airy-fairy BS. What is she talking about? Because they're still in the energy of the limitation. So let yourself physically relax your shoulders, relax your body, deepen your breathing, and then let yourself connect with light. Let light come through you and flow through you. And then just take 3 deep breaths, allowing that. Let the belly expand. You could see the light, or you could just invite the light. You can't do it wrong. And so as you move away from the improving my situation, improving myself, working at it, figuring it out, being positive. So like let all of that fall away. Take a few deep breaths. And then presence what is here right now. It might actually not feel good, and that is okay. Coming more deeply into the present moment is always the best way to invite in the things that feed and nurture you the most, whether it's BMW or it's, you know, my body is totally healthy or whatever it might be. Good, so let your body relax. Okay, there's this inner alignment that you enter with what is, with, oh, there's so much fear and anxiety, or with, there's anger, or, oh my gosh, there's so much pain and this sucks, and there's resistance. It doesn't matter what you notice. Breathe into it. Breathe into it fully, and allow yourself to let that energy move. So what you'll notice as you do that, as you release positive, negative, figuring out, resisting, all of that is resisting. So that this energy will move on its own as you breathe and shine the light of your consciousness on it. This is really, really powerful with kids. If you're present to what you're experiencing when you're with your kid, it's going to allow that kid to be in a higher state of harmony. And it is so, so powerful in transcending this like scale of consciousness or scale of emotion, and then just embracing all of it where you actually transcend into a higher space. This is neutrality. In neutrality, there isn't attachment to, is it a BMW, or do I just get to have a ton of fun in my life and play and be really well taken care of and have things be easy for me, and it doesn't really matter that it's through a BMW, right? So we have the specific that the mind says, I gotta have it this way, I gotta have it this way, I've gotta have this partner, or I've gotta have this job, or I've gotta have this amount of money. That for me was a big deal for a long time. It was like my success was tied up in some external things, and I didn't really harmonize with what is the essence of success, of being in that level of freedom and allowance of myself. And so when you connect with this alignment, it can allow everything to come in that is a match for that. And it will come in quickly, and it will come in effortlessly. And if you ever stop and go, but it's not working, that's because you're in attachment. It's only information for you to see, oh, I'm in attachment. I'm not embracing what is. What is I'm so frustrated, I'm so attached, I'm not happy, it's not okay, I don't accept myself unless blah, blah, blah happens. So just witness that, but witness it with the space of light and breath. You'll allow that to release so that you're no longer captive to that energy, to that need, and you can really allow yourself to receive so much more. So whenever you find yourself in that, I've got to manifest this, or I manifest that, or I should be positive, dump it. Embrace what actually is happening within you, what you're actually feeling, and you will transcend that moment and open back into neutrality and open back into pure love and pure light. That is the alignment that allows you to receive. And if it's not that exact thing you thought it needed to be, or that particular lover, or that opportunity, or that quote unquote BMW, as you release what you thought it was supposed to be, something even better will come in and contribute to you. That's like, oh, I didn't even know it could be this easy. So my invitation is to let go of the things that, what you think it needs to look like, because that's just going to block receiving. and continue to stay present to what is. You can transcend this whole scale that's written backwards, I know in this video, of being on that scale of emotion and being, or on that emotional roller coaster, on that be positive, don't be negative, avoid negativity, by embracing all of it. And when we do embrace all of it in fluidity and harmony and total allowing, now the mind is going to be like, no freaking way, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to embrace despair because then I'll have more despair. I'm not going to embrace anger because then I'll just be sicker and have more quote unquote negative people in my life. And that's a lie. The lie that covers up your power, that you do have the ability to embrace the whole picture of it, of all that is, of all that you are, and that in that is an opening to true freedom. I'm going to look at some of the questions that came through. If you have more, go ahead and type them in right now. And I love that people are sharing. This is exactly what I needed clarity on. Isn't the wall we face one created out of fear and attachments of outcome? Yes, grace. It is the resistance that we face that has us, kind of meet a wall where it's like, I'm stuck, and I can't get beyond this, or my body's not getting better no matter what I do. More receiving is required, so more embracing. You are so great in walking listeners through this from where they presently are challenged. Thanks so much. Yeah, and that's really because of how much I've been willing to presence my own personal experience of despair and anger and fear. And it's so real, but I always had to remember, like, fear is false evidence appearing real. And when you're in it, it's not false, it's real. It's like, no, this is really real. And when you actually get more present, it's always a projection. It's always, this thing I think will happen. And what's actually happening in the moment is what I'm avoiding. It's like, oh, I can't be present to that. So more presence, more allowing, more willingness. So courage and willingness are kind of the two big gateways that allow us to transcend that scale and positive, negative of duality and bouncing around. Courage and willingness are the things that allow us to walk through this door into the space of neutrality. Grace, I think you are on the wave of our culture, moving from the limited thinking of attraction and manifestation to your ease of neutrality and embracing the personalized stepping stones. Yes, that's a big part of what I've realized was assisted my greatest awakening and my greatest receiving, and moving through that fear allowed me to let it go. So it no longer was manifesting or blocking my manifestation or muddying up the waters and creating so much chaos in my life and so much lack and limitation and quote unquote walls, when I was willing and courageous enough to really fully embrace the depth of it. Martha, yes, thank you about the diagram. Arlene, hi Dr. Kim, I had some of this transitioning from my 20+ year career. Arlene is a woman who's worked with me privately and was really clear that the career she was in, yes, it's lucrative, yes, there's this quote unquote abundance, I'm making money, but and it's suiting these ego needs of like, I'm taking care of my family, or I'm successful, I feel good about myself, but it's not really suiting my heart's desires of, this is who I am, and this is what makes me sing, and this is what I'm really all about. And it was actually hindering her heart's expression into more, being more abundant and more fully alive and more fully expressed. And so she realized, like, okay, I know this has a time limit, and how do I get out of here? Because there was fear, there was attachment, that creates the inability to see the possibilities that are there. And in the last just recent period, she left that completely, stepped away, had an amazing journey in the meantime of like having things just get so much easier when she allowed it to, and then eventually stepping away from it very courageously to let a lot more come in. And sometimes we sort of sit in that hallway of the allowing before the externals will reflect the manifestation, right? It's like, okay, where's my car? Where's my car? Where's my lover? Where's my lover? Why isn't my body healthy yet? But what you'll find is in the alignment, there's a resonance with non-attachment, with I have let it go. Like people say, let go and let God. There's a harmony in that alone. If you continue to resonate with that harmony, the externals will then begin to reflect and little like invitations or possibilities show up, or things start to manifest because you've allowed. And as far as Gail's asking about what would you suggest in allowing the body to enjoy the foods I give it, your physical body will begin to harmonize, as you say in the harmony of, I allow my body to be all that it is. That really was a big thing for me with making my symptoms wrong, making my illness wrong, making my body wrong, making myself wrong. Oh my God, I pushed too hard, or I did this wrong, or I should have done that, or I shouldn't have eaten this, or and always trying to figure out, why am I so sick? When I moved into what's right about this I'm not getting, and like allowed my body's manifestation to just be as it was without being so upset about it or trying to fix it or figure it out, there was more harmony. And of course, that was a major key that gave my body what it needed so that it could heal. It is hard when I was so pissed off about being unbelievably exhausted, and like another day, I just took a 5-hour nap yesterday. Why am I still exhausted? Why should this happen? I shouldn't have this. And I'd be mad at my body, like my body was the enemy. And that's how I kind of proceeded, was like, overcome this body, mind over body. But now I'm in battle with my body. So we were both losing, right? You're not separate from the body. You're embodying this body. And when I began to see my body was my ally, wait a minute, what is my body telling me that's actually an invitation to more? What's right about this I'm not getting? It allowed me to be in harmony with where I was being led. Like, Kim, let go of the fight. Let go of the struggle. Let go of the achieve, do more way of doing life, because your body has more for you. And your body's letting you know, like, this is kicking your butt and it's over. So that shutdown was a good thing. And so did it take, for me it was days, but did it take a period of time to allow the manifestation to occur? The body that could be in resilience with food, eat things harmonically, harmoniously, and just digest, and it was fine. That kind of came later, but I wasn't attached to it. And that's what allowed more fluidity, more harmony, more healing. That's what allowed it to come in more fluidly. But if I were looking like, wait a minute, I still can't eat gluten and something must be wrong, I'm just hindering that process. So I would say let go of needing the body to enjoy the foods you give it, and just allow yourself to resonate in the harmony of letting go and receiving what is. Self-criticism is the worst energy. Deborah, thank you. Yes, you're very welcome. Grace, I learned from you to be the invitation to wellness and strength for whatever creative energy is found, rather than my original attachment to being able to take brilliant photos for many. I don't think I can read the full comment here. It kind of ends off, but that's a big thing, is we think that these things we want to manifest are the main purpose, but they're not. They're a means to an end. They're a means to assisting us in embracing greater harmony. Oh, I have this amazing lover, and so I have so much more joy in my life. No, it's the other way around. It required that I open to receive joy unconditionally, and then the partnership, my marriage, my family, that is a reflection of that, can present itself, can be received. So thank you for sharing. I've been trying to embrace my depression, but it came to a dangerous point and I was horrified to feel that state again. So I started taking meds for it and find that it gave me enough relief to embrace. I can't read the whole comment, but let me see what I could do. I kind of feel where you're going with this, and I would say embracing despair was definitely the most challenging thing for me. There was resistance, and that's what kind of keeps us anchored in this space of duality, is like there's resistance. It's not that we actually have positive or negative emotions or harmonic emotions or destructive emotions. Yes, we experience them that way. The reason we're experiencing these lower emotions, anger and fear, grief, as destructive is because we hold resistance to them. It's our resistance that creates the destruction cellularly in our tissues, in our life, in our brain, and on every level. When we're no longer resistant, we actually can move through these things fluidly. So if you've ever had the experience of being moved with sadness or grief or like the deep compassion of experiencing someone's grief, it can be one of the most beautiful experiences you've had in your life. It can be life altering. But if we have resistance to that, it's like this pattern that keeps coming and can't go away. So great, receive a medication that might be a contribution to you. You'll know with clarity if that's true. And you also know if it's, I'm just trying to mask it because I don't want to deal with it. And or when you're ready to come off a medication and get assistance with doing that. But you'll know with clarity, like, I am ready to meet these deeper energies more fully now. Let me move through that. Let me be willing to move through that. And so it's great to receive whatever assistance is available that is really resonating with us, whether it's medications or it's homeopathics or it's have a massage or Reiki, or it doesn't matter. But when we're resistant to those because we think medications are wrong or bad because they're not natural, or Reiki is wrong or bad because there's all kinds of ideas people have about that. When we release our judgment, we can receive fluidly, and we can allow ourselves to expand and to have what we need for that expansion. And for you, yes, it can be really, really helpful for moving through deep despair that we have. For me, homeopathics were massively helpful, like a gift from God. And then not really required so much anymore as I met greater and greater depths with willingness and courage. Okay, so everyone who has joined in, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to just look at a couple more questions. I've shifted my body's pattern from fight or flight, showing up in my digestion, and I breathe this out. And now my system speaks to me through my kinesiology, and I'm aware that going back, yeah, it trails off. But yes, when we get out of fight or flight, there's a lot more freedom in the system. I talked about that last week, like moving beyond fight or flight and the tension and contraction of that and the limitation of that. Certainly that limits the alignment and blocks manifestation on every level. So it's beautiful because we can receive insight, we can receive wisdom, we can receive guidance. Okay, so thank you everyone, and I love seeing so many familiar faces out there for people who've been in my programs or people I've worked with privately. Heather, do the answers or the life you are supposed to take, or will it just fall into your lap, or will you be more aware to see it when it comes? Yeah, it's not so much, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be, as it is, you're supposed to be in joy and harmony. You're supposed to be in the total freedom of allowing who you really are, and how amazing that feels and how fulfilling that feels. And there'll be some awareness of like what that really looks like for you, but loosen up on that. Life will deliver it in the exactly most wonderful, juicy, appropriate way that is a fit for you, that's beyond what you thought was the fit. Like I know for me with relationships, it was really devastating in the past to be like, oh, this is the relationship I really want. I'm totally into this one and I want this one to work out. And then to have it not is like, what am I doing wrong? How come I'm trying to manifest and this is falling apart? But the truth was that as I got more aligned with who I really am, the relationship that wasn't even a fit, that I didn't know it wasn't a fit, fell away. And so it's like what you don't know that you don't know, and how life is serving you is always the biggest part of the equation. How was life serving me that I couldn't run anymore and I was exhausted all the time and I felt like crap and had this illness? How was it serving me? Well, it catapulted me into a whole new way of doing life. And it's unthinkable how much that contributed to what my life really has become. So yeah, we've got to release the attachment. And that's all like the manifestation. I've got to manifest this, I've got to manifest that. Usually it's because we're coming from attachment that feels so constricting and stuck. Aside from chronic health issues, Nicole, I've come down with a crazy flu bug and have barely moved in the last few days. In the beginning, I was full of a lot of panic and fear because I hate being sick. Yeah, it can bring up a lot. And I've had those acute illnesses that like kind of put you in the bed for a couple days, or I got to cancel all my appointments and put my life on hold. I've always learned, not always, but I've learned to invite that to allow a metamorphosis. Okay, here I am cocooning in this illness, and how can I embrace this? Doesn't mean be positive. See how you can turn it into be positive? Oh, this illness is clearing out old ways of being and old energies, and it's all good, it's all good. No, I feel like crap. But can it help me to embrace this experience by saying, I'm willing to shut down. I'm willing to disconnect from everything in the outside world. I'm willing to go into this cocoon for whatever the heck it might be creating, to allow something more to be created for me, to allow my own expansion into the butterfly. And so that isn't so much about being quote unquote positive, the way we think of positive and negative. That's more about allowing and being willing and choosing fluidity with what is. And I've had always the most metamorphosis when I've allowed that to happen, whether it's physical illness or mental discord or emotional discord, which I think is sometimes the hardest. All right, everyone, I'm so honored to assist you here. I'm at drkimd.com. For any of you who are not subscribed, you can definitely subscribe to receive more. We'll be mailing this out to the email list and things like that. And then I actually am going to do a video about this like scale of emotion and how I initially learned to move through it and studied. I love Esther Hicks's work with Abraham, and it's really beautiful. But how that became a limitation when I was applying it at the level of mind, and what really assisted me in transcending that. So a little bit more structurally about what we talked about here and going a little bit deeper. And I'll be sending that out sometime in the next couple of weeks. So if you're subscribed at drkimd.com, you'll receive that. Also, on the Mind Body community and Facebook, you can join me where I answer questions, and it's a really beautiful space where people are connecting about this expansion into neutrality. For those of you who know it feels like a fit to work with me personally, the Embracing Health group will be starting up again in the spring. And then I also do have some spots for some private sessions. I'm still doing some private one-on-ones in Skype, and those are incredibly life-altering, very, very, very powerful, where I'll really read into and feel into where your resistances are, and we release them completely so that you move into fluidity, you move into neutrality. And every session I've had with people personally have been really life-altering and really a huge expansion for that individual in their health and in their relationships on every level. So I'm super excited to share that with you. And you can find that if you feel the resonance to work with me live on the website, drkimd.com. And it will just say work with me live under one of the tabs. You can check that out. I welcome your questions. I'll circle back in the next day to look at the comments that are on the feed here. We will post this each week on my business page, Dr. Kim Durham, in Facebook. And I share it, you know, the invitation in different groups and communities, but this is where the actual video where we come live each week. And it's on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern for Mind Body TV. And I will definitely stay tuned for questions you're asking to think about themes for our future episodes. We're going to turn this into a podcast as well, so we'll have it on iTunes. So everyone have a deep breath as we reemerge into the day to embrace this neutrality. Can't try to embrace neutrality. You can only allow it. It is your natural state. So take a deep breath. Let everything go you've been holding. And allow yourself to have the most fluid, magnificent day that is possible, that is available to you. Sending you so much of my love. It's Dr. Kim Durham from drkimd.com and the American Institute of Mind Body Medicine. I'll see you soon.